This video is sponsored by Surfshark, the best VPN on the market. Surfshark is an app or browser extension that allows you to change your location to access websites in other countries and keep you safe from hackers. For example, we here in Ireland can access other countries' Netflix libraries, streaming services such as DAZN in Spain for those all-important Premier League games. Surfshark keeps you safe and private by protecting everything you do online. When your device connects to the internet, all that information is, in a way, blurred out. Surfshark is particularly useful for keeping you safe if you use public Wi-Fi, such as a college or a cafe. Surfshark allows you to use one subscription on unlimited devices, meaning that you can even share an account with friends and family. On top of this, Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so if you don't like it, you can even get your money back. Our sign-up offer gives you Surfshark VPN for just over €2 per month and up to 4 months free. Why not scan the QR code on screen or use the link in the description to take advantage of this offer. What is up, my friends? How are we? You are very welcome along to Tuesday night's late night agenda, where as always we're going to be giving you the very latest stories around Liverpool Football Club and asking you for your opinion on them. Tonight's first poll question seems an unlikely one, and I'm not in any way trying to state that this is going to happen, but I'll link it into something Danny Murphy said a little bit later on. We were asking, do you think that there is any chance whatsoever that Liverpool could somehow try to land ENRIQUE from PSG? Now, I don't think it's possible, but Danny Murphy thinks we should be breaking the bank to do it, and we'll tell you exactly what he said in a while. And do you know what? Hearing what Danny Murphy said, I can kind of understand somewhat where he's coming from on it, because maybe he is going to be a bit bored of PSG winning the French league every year, and if he gets back-to-back Champions League, maybe he will want a new project. I don't know. So we'll talk about that tonight. We'll talk about Jeremy JACQUET and some of his comments as well. Has he dropped a hint on the future of KONATE? We'll talk about transfer links for attackers, and of course lots more over the course of the next couple of hours. As always, my friends, this is your show, so let me know the subjects you'd like to discuss and I will do my best to get to them. There was a new member I wanted to say thank you to actually as well. Pontus Brilliant, thank you, mate, for becoming a member. Appreciate your support. And what's this one? There was one in here as well I wanted to get to, a members chat. This one. Glad you're back. You've been missed, lad. Thank you. Appreciate that, my friend. And thank you for your support as well as a member. Really do appreciate all of it. So, look, there's a lot for us to get through today. I mean, will we jump straight into the stuff from Danny Murphy, you know, and get straight into that? So, look, Danny Murphy's had this to say about the situation at Liverpool with regards to the potential of us going to get Luis Enrique. So this is what he said. I think he was speaking on TalkSport, if I'm not mistaken. And this is what Danny had to say. I'd try and break the bank and do everything I could to get Luis Enrique. If he wins the Champions League again, what more can he do? He must be bored there, playing in a Mickey Mouse league where he wins every week and he's looking forward to is the Champions League. He must want more of a challenge, surely. And honestly, I'd never really thought about it from that perspective too much. I just assumed things are going well at PSG. There is a 4-year contract offer we know is on the table that we've spoken about before. And again, there's nothing to suggest that Liverpool are trending in that direction. But I agree with Danny Murphy. It would be worth at least broaching the subject, right? Because whatever we want to think at the minute, there is still plenty of reports out there to suggest that Liverpool are still talking behind the scenes with coaches and stuff. And even Dominic King, who I believe is very firmly in the Arne Slot staying camp, but some of his comments earlier on left a little bit of wiggle room in there as well, saying that he's on thin ice straight away when he comes back in pre-season. And look, if the manager's on thin ice straight away, what's the point? And myself and Connor were talking about this earlier on. Like, if you're coming in with a mentality of his job could be at stake, then 1 or 2 defeats and you know how it goes. Like, again, we've said this so many times. I can't think of any manager that survived that outside of Sir Alex Ferguson, and that was all the way back when. So if the club are briefing to journalists who think he's coming back in that he's on thin ice, I mean, that's not a great starting point, is it? And it's certainly not an assuring or reassuring starting point if you're Arne Slot to come back in. So I want to know your thoughts on that one as well. I'll read out the exact quotes to you in a moment. Andre said, if Slot continued by November, we'll have an interim. I think so as well. you know, and that's my whole point in this. If you have zero doubt in the man, grand, crack on, give him a new contract. But if you have any doubt about him, which they seemingly do, like, and understandably, of course, you know, the possibility of him shitting the bed and being out by early next season is possible, but that again doesn't benefit us. It doesn't help the club. That, ironically, I would say probably sends us more towards that spiral that we don't want to go into, you know, that we've seen United and other clubs do over the years. And we need clear, concise decision making for me on the situation with the coach. Irish boy, how are you, my man? So glad to have you back. Make my low days better. Thank you, bro. And I hope those low days are at a minimum for you, my friend. I want to hear if you're having good, happy, positive days. So glad to play any little part we can, my man, and bringing a smile to your face. Right, let me read you through some of these quotes earlier on anyway, from Mr. King. So let me read these out to you. He doesn't really like fan content, does he, by the way? So this is a couple of his quotes in the Telegraph. He said, Slot thinks he can fix things. If he thought the task was beyond him, he'd let Ajax know he was interested when they approached him about becoming the new coach earlier in the year. The Dutchman wants to succeed at Anfield. Now, that's no problem. I want to marry Mila Kunis, but it ain't going to fucking happen, so I'm happily married to Sabrina. But ultimately, what somebody wants and what they're able to do, well, they're often different things. And speaking in his piece in the Telegraph, he also said, and this tells you everything you need to know, I think, about Mr. Dominic King. Online fury about Slot. Online fury now. You know, there was no booing inside Anfield. Us E-fans caused that. Anyway, online fury about Slot has been stoked by fans. Really? Fuck off, Dom. You mean to tell me the fans aren't happy with us losing 20 games in a year? Oh my God. Horrible people, a lot of them, Dominic. Horrible. But thank God, Dom, you're there to fight the good fight. He goes on to say, some have accounts with significant follower numbers. Oh my God. Oh my God. So they're popular, Dom. Is that what you're saying? So we're seeing your real gripe here, Dom. The serious people aren't as popular anymore, and that's kind of getting under your skin. I digress. Let's continue. He goes on to say, some accounts with significant follower numbers and point out misinformation consistently. Many of these accounts have a tagline in their bios reading, powered by Rainbet, a gambling firm that is restricted from UK trading. Just fuck off, Dom. Honestly, mate, at this point, it's embarrassing. Just say you don't like the people are taking food off your table anymore. You don't like that you're not the esteemed journalist that you once were. Just keep taking all the cheap shots, Dom, because you're doing my work for me and fans. Mate, how can you sit there and say with a straight face that fans online are unhappy? Mate, Liverpool fans are unhappy, full stop. It's got nothing to do whether you're online, whether you're in the stadium. If you have eyes and you support Liverpool, you're unhappy because of the situation the way it is. Painting people as negative and toxic for having standards is embarrassing, and it is beneath our football club. We should be wanting Liverpool to be challenging every single year. And again, the old online fans dig is wearing a little bit thin at this point, because the booing inside the stadium, that wasn't the online fans. Leaving the Etihad early, again, Dominic, that wasn't the online fans. But you just keep gabbing and stretching out that divide there, Dominic, between you and reality, because I find it priceless. But anyway, to continue on with what he said Arne Slot is walking the thinnest of lines at Anfield. Patience is never limited with FSG. I think it meant to say unlimited. I think somebody put the quote in wrong. Anyway, patience is never unlimited with FSG, and there would have been a decision to make had Liverpool not qualified for the Champions League. When he returns in July, there will be scrutiny from the first day of training. Now, what good is that? What good is that to anybody here? That if we're at the point where we're admitting that on day one, he's on thin ice, you know how this is going to end up. And none of this, by the way, sounds like a glowing, we're backing him, does it? None of it. And this is from the people that are talking about him staying in. So you can imagine what people with strong opinions think about it. And it's getting a little bit tiring to see Liverpool fans online or anywhere else tagged as being toxic or negative. No, we just know what we're seeing isn't good enough. And stop asking people to accept mediocrity. Liverpool fans know what they're looking at. So people like Dominic King need to stop having cheap shots at fan accounts who have betting things. Mate, you literally survived in an industry that only exists for betting. Nothing to say about that, Dominic, no? I mean, I'll keep sticking up for fan content, whether they're people I know online or not, because they mightn't get it right all the time. But I tell you what, they care, and they care about our football club. So I'm always going to defend them. But I wanted to bring that up to you because I wanted to talk about the thinnest of line things. I don't think that's a healthy position for us to be in as a club. Because if you're looking for fault, you'll find it, right? And that's the way I look at this. If you're looking for fault with a manager, you'll find it. So if Arne Slot comes in for pre-season, he's on the thinnest of lines. Well, nothing can be done till the season starts because you're going to have friendlies and stuff like that. So how is that going to work out? It just all feels like everybody knows he's going to fail. It's just a matter of we have to let it go on longer. And that's the part as a fan that I really struggle with. Because I don't want us to be sitting here talking to each other next November looking for an interim manager. That doesn't benefit the football club, doesn't benefit the fan base, doesn't benefit the players in that dressing room. Certainty is what's needed now. And I would argue if there's any doubt, which clearly there is, around Slot, best to just pull the plug. Because this summer we've got a chance to get good coaches. And importantly as well, we've got to be able to attract the right type of players. And players are going to want to know who they're coming in to play for, who's going to be in the dressing room, who's going to be lining up alongside them. All of these things are important. And it was lovely to hear Jeremy Jacquet this evening be quoted saying that when Liverpool comes knocking, you don't ignore it. And I'll give you some quotes from him in a little bit. But I just wanted to kick off with that one because, Dominic would be somebody who thinks that Arne should be given another go. And that's fine. But if you're writing straight away that he's already on thin ice, it's just kicking the can down the road, folks. That's my take on it anyway. They tell us this angry-looking man sitting alone in the seats while the team send farewell to Mo and Robbo will stay here. He's not winning anyone back. He's not. There's no denying that. I mean, I just don't understand why FSG would even delay the inevitable here. But look, it is their football club, and we kind of have to just wait and see what happens. But on the signing stuff, let's get back to talking about that because there's been quite a bit today on that. I'm sure you've seen this, but an account coming out of Gazzetta Italia has said Michael Edwards is a serious candidate as AC Milan's new CEO. I've not seen much else on this today other than that account saying it, or it being taken from the Football Italia. Or was it Gazzetta Italia or Football Italia? It was Gazzetta Italia. Said Michael Edwards, Liverpool's football CEO, is a serious candidate to be Milan's new CEO. So again, it looks like at least Edwards has been linked with moves away from Liverpool. Now, we talked before about maybe him going back to work with Dr. Ian Graham at the company that they initially founded together. But all these stories linking Edwards and stuff like that with moves away, it doesn't really dampen down some of the chatter that maybe there's been a falling out behind the scenes between himself and Richard Hughes, which again, I don't have anything concrete on. Rob said, because of Slot, the club has become toxic. Who will replace Salah? Bowen? I find it funny, Rob, that there was this mad realisation that we need wingers and pace all of a sudden, and that Salah was leaving. Like, it was some hidden secret that we're going to need to bring in more pace. And I don't know who's going to replace him, but I read something from Asim. Shout out to Asim if he's watching, or, I don't know if he is or not, but Asim said something like this, and I'd be up for this. He said, sign Diamonde early, wait for PSG to sign a couple of Barcola replacements, and then swoop in for him too. Add another attacker in the market later. And he said, is this what Liverpool are shaping up to do? I actually don't know what we're shaping up to do in that regard. I mean, I've seen reports over the last couple of days, some of them saying Liverpool are looking for 2 wide players, other ones saying Liverpool are looking for 1 wide player and a multifaceted forward. I don't know which way that one goes. It does look like, based off so many journalists reporting, that if you're talking about a 3-man list, then it's probably Diamonde, Barcola, and then you're into the likes of Anthony Gordon. For the Salah replacement, I mean. Jarrod Bowen, to me, would just be a clever piece of business. I seen something the other day saying that he could be gotten for a very low number, but it was a bit hypothetical and a bit speculative, so I don't really know if the numbers being mentioned in the piece are legit, but certainly I wouldn't be against it in the short term anyway. Craig, what happened with the end of season review? I've never said anything about an end of season review. That's Fabrizio Romano that said that. Now, look, it's common sense. I'm not trying to say the man's wrong. I mean, most football clubs would certainly have a review to see what things they could have done better, what things they did do well, etc., etc. So, I don't know when the season review was gonna or end of season review will take place. Look, there's a lot of speculation doing the rounds in behind the scenes at the minute. Stuff that maybe a week ago I would have felt a bit more comfortable saying, but right now I'm just, I'm still tasting this humble pie, so I'm gonna hang off a little bit on, pushing stuff out there. But there are various stories doing the rounds now. I'm sure you've heard half of them, so I don't really know at this point what to believe. I don't. I am just gonna sit here like everybody else, look at the signings that are coming in and hope for the best. Because that's all I can really do at this point as a fan is, hope for the best. And I don't want to be on here not feeling happy going into a new season. I don't think any of us do. So, at least if we can get the signings moving, and I would expect us to do one or two before the World Cup. Like, I really do think the club will try and get a couple in early doors. Stevie Boy said, sack the man now. Why wait until he's gone in November? The whole thing feels weird to me. Like I said, Stevie Boy, if they just gave him a new deal, all the chatter goes away and every conversation then just leans into who are we signing, and who is going to play where. But the uncertainty that they're adding to, I think, just makes fans a little bit more confused by it all. If you've got a situation where three important people at the football club are all out of contract in 1 year's time. So Michael Edwards, Richard Hughes and Arne Slot, all their contracts are up in 1 year's time. So there's uncertainty in all of their roles, which again isn't really, in my opinion, a great position for Liverpool to be in. I just love to know in all of this where FSG's heads are at. And if they're still fully invested in Liverpool. And, because it feels like they've taken their eye off the ball a little bit, or at least distance themselves a little bit more. Like we talked about the fact that nobody that was there, no John W. Henry, no Tom Werner, to say goodbye to the lads. That just felt weird to me. Leona said it was too bloody hot today. That wasn't too bad where I was. I mean, I'd seen loads of other people, temperatures a lot higher, but it was warm today where we are, but not, unmanageable. I've seen some much higher temperatures around, all right, so maybe we got a bit lucky. Thinnest of Lines is basically Rodgers episode 2. Exactly that, my friend. Exactly that. Because look, let me play devil's advocate and let me be a conduit here for Arne Slot and the club. If I'm Arne Slot and I'm going into the season, I don't want to be reading those things. I want to know if I'm going into a new season, if we're starting pre-season and we're bringing in new signings, I want to know categorically where my future is, if the club has my back or not. So again, for him going into a new season, it just doesn't give clarity to him, to the club, to the fans. It all just feels a bit like we're backing him, but we're not really backing him. You get me? And that Brendan Rodgers 2.0 thing feels spot on, because we had all the same thing. And I understood it back then because FSG were a bit wet behind the ears, kind of new to the football world. They were still taking advice from, different people and finding their way in the football world. So, mistakes like that are fine. But I think the one thing we all want to see is if anybody makes a mistake, you, me, anybody in life, you want to learn from those mistakes. What you want as fans is not to see the same mistakes being played out again. Because if FSG really are smart people, and look, you don't become billionaires by being an idiot, surely they understand the crack. Like, if there's doubts about this man's future, look to the past. Try and find instances where managers have turned it around. And I think they'll find that they're few and far between. And on top of that, this feels like a summer where a lot of managers are going to be available, a lot of them. And every day that Liverpool potentially don't make a decision is giving somebody else a head start. if we do need to look for a coach. But again, I'm sure behind the scenes, despite their public support, I'm sure that they are keeping all their ducks in a row and looking at different options. What's the JACQUET and ENRIQUE news we've already covered? No, I haven't covered it all in the first 20 minutes, mate. No, I haven't. So the ENRIQUE news is more Danny Murphy saying that Liverpool should break the bank and go get Luis Enrique. He said, I tried to break the bank and do everything I can to get Luis Enrique. If he wins the Champions League again, what more can he do? He must be bored there playing in a Mickey Mouse league where he wins every week and all he's looking forward to is the Champions League. He must want another challenge, surely, or more challenge, surely. So maybe he does. Yeah, maybe he does. I hope he does, but... So, DP4926, just the 6th time I've seen, mate, that you've put in, I thought this guy quit. I'm here. That's your fucking answer. End of conversation. Ta-ra! So, yeah, on the situation with Enrique, I'd love Danny Murphy to be right, and I'd love Liverpool to make a big, bold play. But I can only go off the things that I've read without any inside information, and all I've ever read is that there's a contract on the table for him, and he's may sign it after the Champions League final. But Danny Murphy does have a point there. Like, if Luis Enrique wins the Champions League again with PSG, so that's back-to-back, and obviously he won everything with PSG the season before, he's won the French League again, what else does he need to do? How can he, you know, because it isn't the sexiest of leagues, let's be honest about it. It's a club that obviously are backing him and have done great things, and he's led them to great things. But I don't know. I'd certainly be up for Liverpool trying to sort it out, or at least making a play. You know, I think we'd all, like, he's the dream target. Now, again, it seems very, very unrealistic, but we are Liverpool Football Club at the end of the day. And actually, speaking about we are Liverpool Football Club, let's talk about Jeremy JACQUET, because he's been given a few quotes about why he chose Liverpool, stuff like that. So let me take you through a few of them. Okay. So, Jeremy JACQUET, on deciding to sign for Liverpool over Chelsea, had this to say. I've been talking to them for a long time. It didn't happen in the span of a week. I spoke with the management. The club's history weighed heavily on my decision, but so did the project they offered me. He said, Van Dijk is going to teach me so much. There's also KONATE who can help settle me in. Training with guys like that, it doesn't get any better. So, has he just given us a hint that KONATE's staying there? Because he's talking about coming in to play with KONATE and Virgil. So maybe he knows something we don't know about the KONATE situation. Or maybe it's just, I don't know, maybe it's something else. So also, he said, I told my agent, if the biggest clubs in Europe are interested, we're not going to turn them down. They're there for a reason. I know my potential. I want to play my football and enjoy the moment. I'm going to follow my own path. I don't know how it'll end, but I think I'm off to a good start. I've no doubt that things will go well. I want to play as much as possible for Liverpool. For me, a player shouldn't need the guarantees over playing time. He has to prove himself on the pitch. I mean, that's fucking brilliant. Honestly, as a fan, that's what I want to read. You know, that he's not coming in feeling entitled to a starting place. He's coming in wanting to prove he deserves a starting place. And that, to me, is a great jumping off point. So that's a good attitude to come in with. And, you know, I dare say he'll win fans over quickly if he keeps that mindset. And it was an interesting one as well, because it did seem for the longest time that Chelsea were leading that race. I mean, maybe we were just moving around quietly, but, you know, the man himself there said that Liverpool had been talking with him for a while. So, good to hear. And also, on his recovery, it's looking good on that front as well. James Pearce said there's growing uncertainty over the future of experienced centre-back Ibrahim Konate, whose contract expires at the end of June. The France international indicated last month that he was going to stay at Anfield, but he's yet to pen an extension. Simon Jones said this. A new contract for Konate was close to being agreed in April, but has been held up over final details. He wants to stay, but foreign clubs are once again alert to the fact he could be available on a free. Elsewhere, Aston Villa are among the clubs interested in Joe Gomez. Also, James Pearce said, boost for Liverpool with incoming defender Jeremy Jacquet set to be fit for the start of pre-season training at Kirby in early July. Not played since February due to a serious shoulder injury which required surgery, but rehab advancing well, which is good news that he will be ready to go for pre-season. Good evening, my friend. How are you? Always a pleasure, and thank you for joining us once again, my man, and of course for your support of the channel. Rob said Barcola lacks character and leadership qualities. He's talented but without persistence. I don't really know much about Bradley Barcola, the guy, Rob, to be honest with you, mate. I think somebody said to me he's turning 25 in September, something like that. So he's probably a year or two older than I actually thought he was, but he certainly has the experience, and he certainly has had, as we've talked about before, the career before the Liverpool career. It is a tough one though, Rob. I don't know what the right move would be for Liverpool, whether Barcola or Diamonde, if it was one or the other. I go back and forth in my mind about which one I think would be the better fit. I think I've always said if you go for somebody like Diamonde, I would like us to bring in somebody a little bit further along in their development then as well, because we don't know how 19-year-old Yan Diamonde will settle in. Will he have issues coming to the Premier League, maybe like Wirtz did? Would it take a season? Because what we can't do is, as bad as this sounds, we don't have the ability now to wait for another player to settle in. We have to hope we can get somebody here that hits the ground running, because our options on the right are almost gone. Salah's gone, Chiesa's going. There's nobody there. So we really need somebody that can hit the ground running. And look, if there's a project player on top of that, fair enough. But whoever comes in has to be playing, and playing quickly. Oliver said the project they talked about is heading the wrong way. Look, there's no part of me, mate, that deep down think they believe in him. There isn't. There's no part of me that thinks FSG really think he's going to turn this round. I don't. Because how could you? All the evidence is there, like we've said, all season. Even, if I'm them and I'm hearing them now say, no, we need wingers, even that would concern me. Because, we're fans and we talked about it a year ago. So it should be no surprise. Yeah. I hammered you in comments, not personal though. Crack on, Peter. You crack on, mate. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't read your comments that I'm aware of, Peter. But why the fuck would you bother telling me? That's what I don't understand. You can hammer me in the comments all you want, mate. That's your right as a viewer. Crack on. You do you, bro. I don't know what else to say, because I don't know who you are or what you're moaning about, but that's your right to do it, my man. Crack on. Same as it's right for other fan channels to take cheap shots as well, which I've seen a clip of, which made me smile. Maybe concentrate more on, your numbers, but I'll leave it at that, because I don't want to be that guy. I don't punch down. Would you take Linders back as an assistant? Would I fuck? Would I? I wouldn't take Linders back to clean the players' boots. That's how I wouldn't want that snaky, slithery little fuck anywhere near Liverpool Football Club. The man who said, I'll never work as a number 2 again. The man who said, when I'm finished with Jurgen, that's it as a number 2. The man who wrote a book about air identity and then ran off to the enemy. No, pass, thank you. No thanks on that one. Jaden, missed you, brother. Welcome back. Hope you're good. Thank you, my man. It's lovely to be back, and I've been, humbled by so many kind comments. And then we have people like the gentleman Peter, who said, I was fucking slaughtering you in the comments, Craig. Oh, you should have seen it. I was giving you socks, fella. But nothing personal. So what I mean, nothing personal. Okay. So if I was to start slaughtering you, let's say, Peter, and, would I be able to just get away with saying not personal? Because if we could just, it's like someone saying no offense, but you're a fat prick. You don't get away with the second part by just giving the first part, Only my wife gets away with that crap. How much money do I make per stream? There is no fixed amount. And also, what the fuck concern of yours is that? I make money because I deserve to. I worked for free for 6 years to get this channel here. So whatever comes in these days is off the back of 6 years of hard, honest graft for free, with an investment into all the stuff that we've built up over the years as well. So what we make per stream is none of your concern. It's that simple. You know, it quite simply is none of your concern. Because you weren't worried when we didn't have any income. You weren't worried when we couldn't fund the channel, when we barely kept the lights on and we were 40 grand in debt. But, you know, like I said, we don't have a set amount as the honest answer. Like one stream, you could make 1,000 quid. Another stream, you could make 100 quid. It truly depends. Like, it's a very volatile job. It's really hard to plan or structure for anything because, you know, you're dependent on news. You're dependent on Liverpool either being really good and everybody being happy, or then you don't want them being shit. I can promise you that, by the way. I don't know any content creator that wants their club not doing well. I know there's this fallacy out there that everybody loves to make money off negativity, but that's complete bollocks. Because so many of us we're fans first. So our desire is for Liverpool to do well. If you said to me, Craig, you'll make 50% less money and Liverpool are going to win a treble, I'll take the treble every day of the week. Absolutely every day of the week, because there are some things you just can't put a number on. And, you know, I've talked many times about the great nights we've been on here, where we're all pulling in the same direction and we're all over the moon. Man, that hits different. That really does. Like, there is no number on that. You know, to see Liverpool fans happy and our club in a good place, that's priceless. As cheesy as it sounds, it really is. JACQUET and Leone future centre-back pairing, love them. It definitely seems like that's more than plausible, my friend. I'm so excited to see Leone back as well. I really am, because we only got, 85 odd minutes of him, but he looked the business. And I'm excited to see him back. How would Arne think if he gets fired and Enrique takes over? Will he still be fawning over him? I'd imagine he'd be straight onto his agent asking, can he get the PSG job? Or knowing Arne, he'd probably ask John if he could be Enrique's number 2 at Liverpool, something like that. I don't know. Look, I don't really think there's much chance of us getting Enrique. I don't. I'd love it to be the case, but I just don't think it's possible. Unless something like Danny Murphy said there, like unless there is maybe and I've done what I can at PSG. And look, we've not seen a Liverpool manager win back-to-back Champions Leagues. Well, sorry, I haven't in my lifetime. So I don't know what his thought process might be. Maybe he would look at it and think, cool, we've done what we can here. Was brought into PSG to deliver the Champions League. I've done it, potentially twice. So, you know, if he is up for another little segue, well, Premier League would be as good a place as any, wouldn't it? And there's a space in the Premier League for a world-class manager with Pep leaving, with Jurgen having left. So you never know, maybe. If he does ever come to the Premier League, I certainly would hope it would be for us. Will he only be back for pre-season? Yes. So I was reading something earlier on. I think it was from Anfield Sector. Forgive me if I'm wrong, but I think it was from Anfield Sector. And they were saying that he's in the final stages of his rehab. So you would imagine then, yeah, he should be pretty much good for pre-season. Anfield Watch just posted, say, exclusive. We can reveal that RB Leipzig are interested in Trainioni. Respectfully, what we can't be doing now is just getting rid of more young talent like that. Like, surely we've learned our lesson at this point. Trey should be part of Liverpool's first team setup. And I don't even want him going out on loan until we know how we're fixed. Because we can't have another situation where we're scrambling around last minute. And I love Trainioni. I think he's a wonderful young footballer with a huge ceiling and huge potential. But I don't know if they're trying to work a few angles on the Diamande deal, because there was something, I'll read it out to you. I said it in the video earlier on. 1 second. Where was it? No, it wasn't that one. No, it wasn't that one. Where was it? No, I don't seem to have it in my notes. Yeah, let me circle back around to that one in a little bit. I say get Cola, Jan, Gordon, and sell Leo, Cody, and Fede. I don't want Rafa Leo at Liverpool personally. I don't think he's good enough. I think he's too inconsistent. So for me, and look, I've been in conversations with Milan fans who are really frustrated, you know, because everybody can see the talent Rafa Leo has. By the way, have you guys seen the Arsenal fans online trying to say that take away the Ballon d'Ors and Saka is better than Messi? I'm not joking. Like, I'm not making this up. This isn't Craig throwing out a bit of bait. There are Arsenal fans with a straight face online trying to say remove the Ballon d'Ors and Saka is better than Messi. Help? What? And also, Gerrard's a better penalty taker than Declan Rice, but Declan Rice is better at everything else apparently than Steven Gerrard. These lads are beyond delusional. Like, I think Declan Rice is a wonderful footballer. Wonderful. But the only person who's played in the Premier League that's even near the standards was De Bruyne. Maybe Yaya Toure in his pomp for a season or two. But my God. Like, I don't know, lads. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. They're saying Arteta is better than Klopp. Fuck me. I don't know what to say. It took Arteta 6.5 years to win the league title. £1 billion plus in transfer fees. And fair play, he did it. Not trying to rain in the parade. Fair play, he did it. But, I mean, look, I would argue that Jurgen Klopp is way better. And he's also won a Champions League. So maybe if Arteta wins a Champions League, maybe wins a few more trophies. But I still think even his trophy count is nowhere near. And I think it's too early in Arteta's career as a coach to even start making these things. You know, because I don't know what happens at Arsenal, how long he stays there, where he goes after Arsenal. But the real top managers, like when we talk about them in the all-time lists, they're usually managers that have done it in various leagues and built up teams. And to be fair to Arteta, he has done that with this Arsenal team. No bullshit. Like, he has. You give the man his credit. He's took Arsenal back into being a regular contender, Champions League club again on a regular basis, and he's won a league title. He deserves umpteen credit for that. But I just think they don't make it easy for themselves, do they? You know, or the rest of us when we see these silly, stupid comments out there. What do you think of Kwanzaa making the England World Cup team? No English Liverpool players were selected for the World Cup. Is that embarrassing? It's not a great look, but I mean, you've also got Madrid with no Real Madrid players in the Spanish squad, which I don't know if it's ever happened before, but it's certainly very unusual. I mean, there probably isn't a Liverpool player, an English Liverpool player that should be in the Champions League squad. Or excuse me, in the English World Cup squad, my apologies. But honestly, I'm Irish, so I haven't paid all that much attention to the English selection. But yeah, I'm more intrigued to see, like, when Van Dijk's contract is up, Kwanzaa's release clause or buyback option comes active for us. So I'm wondering, and I don't know, but I'm wondering, is the thought process there, you know, get JACQUET in, maybe KONATE stays, Leone comes back in, 1 more year with Virgil, then you'll have Kwanzaa who will have, you know, a bigger body of work in the Bundesliga, and then you make a decision on whether you trigger that buyback clause. It certainly lines up time-wise for that to happen, but apart from that, I don't know. Getting Bone and Diamande as understudy, perfect. I would agree. Look, I'd be happy with Diamande or Barcola. Either of those two, and I'm happy. Anthony Gordon, I'm less happy. You know, I still think Anthony Gordon's decent, but I'm less happy than one of those two. But yeah, Bone for me is the very sensible piece of business to do when you need experience as well. So yeah, for me, mate, I would agree. Carbon to Barcola is not the right fit. His finishing is horrible, and yes, he has the quality, but I don't think he has the right attitude. Well, look, you're not the first person tonight that's raised attitude stuff. I don't know, mate, what his attitude is like. I don't know. On the finishing thing, well, it is one of the things I think of when I think of Bradley Barcola, is that he gets into a lot of great positions, but when I've watched them, which again probably isn't as frequently as many people in the chat, I've tended to think exactly what you've said as well, that he's a bit wasteful. Now, if we had a decent coach, which we don't, but if we had a decent coach, I would say something like maybe they think they can improve that or coach the finishing into him a bit. So yeah, I really don't know, because I think there's a risk involved any which way we go here. You know, Diamonde's a risk because, you know, one, he hasn't played in the Premier League. Two, he has one season under his belt in the Bundesliga, and I think second division Spanish football before that or something. So, you know, if you're bringing in somebody, we can't have a season of easing them in, because we don't have that luxury, unfortunately, because we just don't have the numbers. Believe the noise about City. So I think what you're referring to was Hand of Arsenal, which is an account that posts about Arsenal things that has been, I think Arsenal fans hold this account in high regard, but it said, it's my understanding that there is a seriously confident expectation now for a decision on the Manchester City 115 charges case to be delivered in the coming weeks, sometime in the summer at least. All Premier League clubs await official communication. I don't know, mate, you know, because I've seen like top tier journalists get this wrong, because I don't think anybody truly knows when it's going to come out, because we've seen before this season, then we've seen Easter time, then we've seen summertime. Excuse me. So I don't know. But as soon as I heard Guardiola was leaving, my first thought was, yeah, he's getting out before the shit hits the fan. That's, as a fan of football, that's the way my head went. I don't know if other people feel the same with it, but that's where my head went. That yeah, that case must be expected soon. I'm just tired of it, like everybody else, like everybody who supports Liverpool, Arsenal, Manchester United. I'm just tired of this situation with City. It's too long. And football, you know, if this is proven and some of these charges or all of them stick, again, it's not a good look for English football. And, you know, how they deal with it is probably just going to end up with even more legal costs involved. And this is sport. It's all just sad that it's happening. And then when you see some reports that Turkey Al-Sheikh is trying to buy Derby and trying to, you know, invest money, Saudi money or PIF money or whatever you want to call it, into Derby County, I'm just thinking, I mean, if this gets true, why do we even have these fit and proper persons tests? Because you've let Newcastle be bought by Saudi, pretending it wasn't, but we know it is. They've even said it in a court in New York, basically. And then this again. I mean, either make a stand and make the owners actually have to make these clubs work and not just be a piss take for just a PR exercise or, you know, to stroke a country's ego. You know, football clubs should be looked at like the crown jewels, because these are huge institutions that have a real connection to the communities. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you. Feral Kitty. Appreciate you. Thank you. Right, let's end this first poll anyway. So 65% of 2,770 votes reckon that there is no chance that Liverpool get Enrique. And I think that's probably the sensible answer. Kem, How are you, my friend? Said, I'm trying to think of a positive example of a turnaround in Slot's situation. I'm not confident in Slot, by the way. Transfers, right wing, left wing, defensive mid, right back, top priorities. Agree with you on the priorities, Kem. Totally agree with you on that. So the only one I can think of is Sir Alex Ferguson. Off the top of my head, that's the only one I can really think of that did it. I know at one point he was close to getting fired at Man United, and I think he had an FA Cup win, and that turned it around. I can't think of any more that have been this close. And I think when you're even talking about it, or the media is talking about, if it doesn't go well, this is going to happen. Like, how many times have you seen a report somewhere that would say, this manager, if he doesn't get a result this weekend, he's gone? What's the point of that? If your mindset is already that this person's on thin ice, the fuck up is going to come. Like, it will come. So just make the decision. It's weird that so many clubs do this, and our club's certainly guilty of doing it in the past. If it's clear it isn't working, draw a line under it. Save everybody wasted time, because fans don't want to invest. Like, let's say you're a season ticket holder at Anfield. I'm sure it was a tough decision in one way to renew that season ticket, thinking you're coming in to watch slot ball for another season. Now, of course, you're a Liverpool fan. It's probably a pleasure to be at Anfield every week, and you've done this for years. I understand that side of it. But I know a few who are certainly paying the money this season with a bit of a heavy heart. Now, if you're doing that as well as thinking this guy could be out of here in November, if results aren't great, that's another season of instability that could potentially be all but written off. And in my time watching Liverpool, especially on here with you guys, I've seen FSG make so many decisions that could have been changed. The season that just peters out, that with a bit of investment or with a bit of bold decision making could have maybe been salvaged, but they've been unwilling to do it. Like, let's look at last season, a perfectly good example. We don't get Mark Gay at the end of the window. We pick up an injury to Giovanni Leone in the Carabao Cup. And then January rolls around and we have two centre-backs and then Gomez in and out of injury. And we don't do anything. Now, if you have a club's owner that wants to win and is determined to win, they're going to go and do something there. They're going to go and bring in something to give the manager a bit more firepower, or to top up the areas that are concerned. And for us, not to bring in a centre-back for the here and now in January, it was nonsensical. Like, Jeremy JACQUET could very well be a great piece of business, but it didn't help us last season. It didn't help Arna to secure a Champions League spot. They did nothing to correct course and to really try to push us on to win something. And I know it's an easy and probably a lazy comparison, but if you look at Manchester City's owners, they went out there, had a shaky start to the season, and brought in Mark Gay, brought in Antoine Semenyo, and they've just done a parade with 2 more trophies. Now, I don't know if that would have changed for us, but I know it certainly would have given us a better chance of securing some silverware last season. Gary Evans, thank you, bro. Appreciate you, sir. And thank you for being with us for 16 months as well, my man. Mario, how are you? Said, hey Craig, hope you and the family are all good. Just my opinion, but Liverpool don't feel like Liverpool anymore. Would love to get your thoughts. I've been struggling with this one, Mario, because how do I say this? Sometimes in life, naivety is better. So what I've noticed as a fan is, since I've gone into fan content and I've started to get a bit more of an insight into the way clubs run and operate, and I'd be a liar, mate, if I said some of the childhood glee or gloss hasn't been taken off supporting Liverpool. It has, because things that you think are mythical or almost a far bigger thing than they actually are, when you get to understand the kind of workings of it and how weird it is, and then add in the fact that we all don't feel connected at the minute. Like, I think if you were to speak to Liverpool fans and even remove the slot conversation and just said, right now, do you feel connected to the structure of Liverpool Football Club. Because I guess the real question here, Mario, is what is Liverpool Football Club to each of us? And I think that's a question that's tough to answer, because any set of owners are transient, they're custodians of the club. So really we're buying into the history, the tradition, and the morals of the club. And do I feel that those morals are being held up? No, I don't. But I'm an idealist. So my views are probably idealistic in where I think they should be. My view is that owners should just sign the checks and shut the fuck up and let the football people go about the football. So yeah, look, it's a tough one at the minute, but there is definitely a lot of football fans, when football is becoming more and more and more commercialized, that are finding it tougher to stay in love with the sport. Especially when you've been asked to pay £100 for a jersey, or your Sky bills are going through the roof. To go to a game of football now is almost like, will I go on a holiday with the family or will I go to watch Liverpool? It's an expensive business these days to be a fan. So yeah, there is definitely, for me, a little bit of gloss taken off the mystique of all of it and Liverpool and what the club means to me. The city is more where my love is, and the coaches and the players, because they're the heroes. They're the ones that make us fall in love. They're the ones that make us dream. So I try to keep and then for me, I've got another layer on top of that where I'm fighting so hard to love something that doesn't like that I exist and doesn't like the way I operate. And that's really difficult as a fan as well, that you're loving this football club and you're emotionally invested in it and you're financially invested in it. But you know that they don't like that you're a thing. They know they don't like your views. They know that they don't like you. So it's hard to keep loving that thing that doesn't want you to exist as well. So yeah, sorry, I'm rambling on here a little bit, but it's something, Mario, I've given a lot of thought to over recent years. What is it? Maybe I can open it up to you guys. And what does Liverpool Football Club mean to you? Why is it that you love Liverpool Football Club? And again, what is Liverpool Football Club? If you were to try and summarize it in a few sentences, what is it? Because it's an interesting one. I doubt the club thinks about you at all. See, you can doubt that all you want, mate. But I know that the club have actively reached out to people to not be with us or why they're working with us. So I don't need you to tell me that you think that. I know it for a fact. So it doesn't matter your ignorant opinion is. I'll give you an example. We went over to Orlando 5 years ago, maybe, something like that. And we were meeting up with a couple of supporters clubs over there. And I know for a fact, because, I've seen it, that they were reached out to and asked what their business was with us. What were they doing with us? And we were a channel with about 30,000 subscribers at that point. So you can be as naive about it as you want, but I'm fucking telling you, not just us, they're over all of it. They have to be. So they do think about us, whether you want to admit that or not. Just say you don't like me, bro, and we can move on. I'm giving you honest truth. And again, I was at a game, the United game this season in October, and I'm walking out, and one of the managers of the hospitality section said to me, "Now don't be too angry in your video." So they absolutely know who we are, mate. And I'm not saying we're a big deal. I'm not. But I'm saying, and I'm just answering Mario's question, what is the club to us? What do we love? What do we not like? What drew us in? I think it's an interesting conversation. Darren said, I grew up watching Liverpool FC get off the plane at Liverpool Airport, bringing the European Cup. I live 5 minutes from it. Watched them Liverpool Airport balcony. Brilliant days. So Darren, the Istanbul documentary that's up on Netflix at the minute, which is really good. Just even looking back at Melwood and everybody standing on wheelie bins and all, watching the lads train, that feels a lifetime ago. To the kind of sterile, removed environments that we see players training in now, where nobody can get near it. Like, even that innocence is gone out of it, where, you know, fans were sitting on top of walls watching the lads train and kick a ball around. Like, even those simple little things like that don't exist anymore. BTC 63 Red said, to me, Sky have ruined English football since the 90s with the money. It's made clubs greedy and turned it from a sport to a business. I agree. Now look, I'm not labelling it all at Sky. You know, they were a vehicle of profit, yes. But it does seem now that it's just business, isn't it? I'm really intrigued, mate, to see if we ever do get to that kind of Netflix style streaming service that has been kind of muted a little bit. I think that'll be interesting as well, to see whether, you know, they ever ditch the TV broadcasters and just sell their own rights directly to consumers. Charles said, just assessing the summer, Arna has no time to turn it around as the World Cup is here and he gets players he won't have time to bed them in. Signings returning from the World Cup. October is coming. I still cannot sit here categorically with a straight face and say that there isn't a chance he's not in charge. There are still people out there who feel like there's still a decision to be made on this. What I did, and again, I'll reiterate it for anybody who's coming in, maybe wasn't with us last night. For me, doubt crept in. And when doubt creeps in, I can't say to you I'm 100%. So that's why I made the video saying, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Because I started to have doubts. And if I have doubts, it's only fair that I communicate those doubts to you. So I still don't know categorically that I'm wrong. Because the same information is still there and it hasn't changed. But it's hard to continuously believe what is very credible stuff when the constant churn of he's staying is just the line that's put out. At some point, I guess you either have to force the issue by giving more information than you're comfortable with, or you do what I did, which is say, look, lads, I'm doubting it a bit now because of the sheer volume of he's staying. So I put my hands up and I said, look, if I'm doubting it, I've got to communicate that to you. And that's what I did. And also the resignation thing, I've seen a lot of this over the past few days, which is absolutely fair. I think it's important to point out two things. One, I offered to resign because if I make a mistake, I'll always offer to fall on my sword. I didn't know whether I was going to be told yes or no. We hadn't really talked to Connor about it too much. But it was a sincere offer. And if you guys wanted me to, I would have done it. Because I don't think I even have to say this, but I always put this community first. Always. Everything I do around what we do here is to bring as much information and conversational topics as I can to people who've given me incredible support. So, of course, I hurt deeply when I think I've misinformed people, because that hurts to me, because I love you guys. I said it over and over again. I love you like your family. So to feel like I've let you down or giving you false hope, that sucks for me. And I could just keep stum, ride it out, hope I'm proved right eventually. But I just don't think that's fair on anyone. So I just put my hands up and said I was wrong. That's the way this all unfolded. And then after that, I went dark for a few days because I have to process it. And I've seen all the people having cheap shots at me and calling me a diva and all this. I don't care. I had to look out for me. I needed to get myself right, because if I'm not right, I'm no good to anybody. So I had to be selfish and look out for me for a few days. And I'm not going to apologise for that. Not that you've asked me to. But I'm just trying to give you full transparency on anything. Because I don't hide, lads. I don't want to. I want to enjoy these. I want to be here and have fun with you all. Yeah, this is something I genuinely look forward to every night. But if you do have any questions, by all means, fire away. I'll answer them as honestly as I can if I know the answer. Where am I at? This one, Anthony. So, Anthony, I'm not sure if it was yours, mate. I seen somebody a minute ago saying my super chats never have any text or something like that. I think the higher the super chat, the more option to put in more writing. I don't know at the lower end, like let's say 199. I don't know what the character limit is or anything like that, mate. So I'm sorry if there's issues on that side, but I wish it was something that I could fix for you. But if it is anything like that, it's unfortunately a Google thing or a YouTube thing. We can try to help you out and, you know, highlight an error for you or something like that, mate. But other than that, there's not much we can do. Isaac, you're a superstar, dude. Thank you, my man. Look, I love this. I love being here with you. Like, I'm the luckiest guy in the world in my eyes. I've got a wife that I love dearly, 2 amazing kids. My dreams are coming through. And I know what side my bread's buttered on. You guys are my bosses. It's that simple. And I'll always try to be honest. And look, I want to talk about the negativity stuff, right? Because this is something that gets thrown at not just me, but a lot of channels. Am I negative? I like to think of it a bit differently. How would I describe it? I have high expectations. I have high standards. And they extend to most aspects of my life. And football's no different. To me, Liverpool Football Club should be in the conversation for trophies all the time. That should be the expectation. And when you win the league and you spend the money we did, I think it's fair to expect a better fist of the season than we had. So if that makes you negative, cool. But what is negative? I'm not wishing negative things. I just happen to have high standards. And I judge different players differently. I've always had a higher standard for Mo and Virgil because they are standard bearers. But I don't think I'm a negative person. I just think I have a high threshold for what I think Liverpool should be achieving. You know, I still supported Liverpool. Like, I, as a fan, waited 30 years to see us lift the league title. That was, you know, no picnic. But the journey that Jurgen took us on was worth the wait. Because that was an incredible, incredible 9 years. Where was I at? Glad to see you back, lad. What do you think the future's looking like for Jadon? If we still had Klopp, he'd have a lot more minutes by now. I don't know what the situation is with Jadon's body. Will it continue to have issues or not? I really don't know the ins and outs of the extent of the back injuries and stuff like that he's had. Kind of gets the feeling that like this is a big year for young Jadon Danns, that you would hope he could have minimal disruption throughout the season. Because right now we need him. Like, we need him. We need Will Wright. Because we have a centre forward that's on the edge of fitness, and hopefully we'll go to the World Cup and get more minutes and sharpen up. And we have a centre forward that we know is going to be out for a few months, maybe even more of next season. So it's a big summer for me for Jadon Danns, but I'd be a liar if I sat here and told you I knew what to expect of him in pre-season or whether there's a loan on the cards. I really don't know, but it is getting to the point now where, yes, you want to see him kick on. You want to see him start to get into the setup a bit more. Russ, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Thank you, sir. Josie said, hey, Craig, new to the chat. Well, firstly, welcome. Appreciate you being in, Josie. Thank you. Hubby Steve and I watch you every night. We're so glad you're back. You're amazing. We missed you. Love to you and your family. And love to you and your family as well. Yourself and Steve. Appreciate both of you. Josie, thank you. And thank you for your very kind words as well, my friend. Anthony said, I heard Slot's gone tomorrow. New manager by 1st of June. So I'd be a liar, Anthony, if I said to you that I hadn't heard speculation about something on Wednesday. I can't stand over that because I personally don't have that information. But I've seen it. I've seen it moving around in circles, and I was sent a clip excuse me, I was sent a clip of a YouTube channel, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the gentleman's channel name is YNWA Reds. He's a Scouser gentleman, middle-aged fella. Seems like a lovely bloke, by the way. But the reason I'm bringing up the channel name is the information that he said he heard from two different sources that he also stands over, as in very credible people. He said something similar, that the decision's been made and he's going to be gone. And I watched the clip and I thought, that's kind of what I heard. No, I don't know this gentleman. I don't know anything about him. I watched his video and I enjoyed it. Spoke about Liverpool very well, and seems like an honest fan like the rest of us. But I know of 6 or 7 different people who have similar information, and that I'm aware of. We don't all have the same sources on it, so it is a really confusing time in that regard. Like, there doesn't seem much certainty around any side of it going forward at the minute. It seems to be there's a lot of, like, I know a couple of journalists that have been saying right in the company line that he's staying, but have their own doubts about that. Simon, thank you, bro. Appreciate you. Eddie, how are you, my man? It's nice to see you back, my friend. Also, I won't be buying anything from Liverpool until they sack him. Same for me. No new shirts, anything like that. I know it's silly, and people like, oh, I'm sure they're going to miss it. I know, I get it. But what else can I do as a fan? I have to show my displeasure somehow. And for anyone that calls me negative, what you'll never see is me on social media. You won't see me putting up post on X or Instagram or anything, because I don't have them on my phone. This is it for me. I come on here and chat with you guys and then work away in the background. I don't take my life into social media because it's not my world. I know I just enjoy chatting with you guys and talking football. So look, I don't think I'm negative. I think I'm cranky. I think I have a high threshold for what Liverpool, but I don't think I'm negative. And it really bothers me when people call anyone who dares question the standard negative. I don't understand how we got here as a society where you can't question something without being labelled something else. I don't know a Liverpool fan that is happy with how this season's gone. And I don't know a Liverpool fan who doesn't think that the manager's job should be under question. So how can everybody be wrong if most of us have the same opinion? Wayne, TOTT, 2KZ1, said, for me, Liverpool always been never say die attitude, fighting for the badge and leaving it all on the pitch, making me believe anything can happen. Yes, absolutely that, Wayne. Absolutely that. Yeah, and that's why Liverpool fans love the likes of Andy Robertson. Players that we can see are hard-working, honest grafters. And that old saying of football fans will forgive a lot, but we won't forgive a perceived lack of effort. That's what we want. Like, we all know Liverpool aren't going to win every game of football, but we want to see the lads fighting. And for the first time last season, we can question some of that fight. Because in the 9 years before and in Arna's first year, I don't think any of us would ever dare question the mentality of that dressing room. Because how the fuck could we? They've shown us time and time again that they're warriors, that they aren't afraid to get stuck in. But something last season just felt like a change, a mentality change, something. Just, it didn't feel right. And that's exactly, you've put it well, Wayne. That's what we want to see. We want to see lads out there fighting for the badge and not accepting their fate, because that's how the magic nights happen at Anfield. Could this all be 4D chess to get Enrique? Oh, here's hoping. Here's hoping, Corbin. Like I said, man, I'd probably be on a par to how happy I was when we got Klopp. Because even when we got Klopp, I wasn't thinking about league titles right at that point. I was just thinking about getting a manager that got Liverpool back to being challenging, and and in the Champions League season after season. And I didn't know what to expect under Jurgen, but I knew we were getting somebody who was going to do everything, every minute, to make sure Liverpool were a success. And I would feel the same if by some miracle we could get Enrique. Yeah, they're like dream type names. So for me, when Klopp came in, I used to say to my missus, even 5 or 6 years in, I can't believe this man's in charge of Liverpool Football Club. I mean, look at him. He's just awesome. Grizzly said, is Bastoni or Stiller still a thing, or is it a pipe dream? Is Slot only here till we get word from Sebastian Hoeneß? So lots of questions in there. I've not seen anything credible linking us to Bastoni. I've seen Barcelona's name linked to him, but he doesn't make sense to me unless you're playing with a back three, for me personally. So I would say probably not on Bastoni. Who's the other one? Angelo Stiller, was it? I actually don't know on Angelo Stiller, because Liverpool are keeping their cards quite close to their chest around a lot of positions. So even like the DM one, it's hard to even get a read on this, because as we sit here, we don't really know who's going to be leaving. We think Curtis Jones might go. There's been a price talked about. But Maka, what happens there? So Lamine Camara, he's one name. Sangar is another name. They seem to be two that patch journalists have been talking about quite a bit as Liverpool casting an eye over. But I don't know if anybody knows, top 5 names on our transfer list. We need to go and get this player, this player. I don't know. I think we're all just in the dark, quite frankly, on a lot of it. Welcome back. You're right about January signing. I'll never understand, Lee. Never understand how we didn't do something in January, mate. It just felt like the height of stupidity. Because normally in January, Lee, when it comes around, you get managers saying things like, players we want aren't available, right? But we know that was bullshit. Or you never really wanted Mark Gay. But again, enough journalists were telling us that we wanted him next summer on a free, and we wanted him last summer, and we needed a deal. So it all just felt weird. It really did just feel weird that the guy that you were after is now available and you do nothing. Cracker Gone Crazy said, is the Arteta era coming? I'm unconvinced by it. I don't know, but I'd like to kind of answer your question with a question. I wonder, will we see a change to the way Arteta sets his teams up now that he's got the league title win? Will he then be a bit more forward thinking? Because he's been linked with some top quality players again. The likes of Barcola he's been linked with. So yeah, I'm more intrigued to see if he's able to, get them playing a bit more attractive football. Because this season felt like one that Arsenal's attributes and the things that they were good at came to the fore and was a dominant trait in the league. So physicality, good from set pieces. They didn't give up many chances. They defended really well. So yeah, I think I don't know about an era either. I'm not expecting him to go and reel off 3 or 4 league titles in a row or anything like that. That's certainly not where my head's at. Jack Zapper, how are you, my man? Craig, love the content and great having you back. Thank you so much, Jack. Appreciate you, sir. And 16 months with us as a member as well. Right, let's talk Salah for a minute. La Repubblica, which I believe are Italian, Dave O.C. Cop posted to say, according to Italian outlet La Repubblica, Juventus manager Luciano Spalletti wants to make Mohamed Salah the marquee addition to his new look side following the Egyptian's departure from Liverpool after 9 trophy-laden years. Salah and Spalletti share history together during their time at Roma from early 2016 until the Egyptians moved to Liverpool in the summer of 2017. Salah's previous experience in Serie A with Fiorentina and Roma means he would not require an adaptation period, while his proven output makes him one of the most attractive free agents on the market. Is anybody else confused why we let him go for free? I'll never understand this one. I'll never understand it. I just don't. You've got a player under contract with a year to go, and you rip it up and let him walk out the door. I know you can give the whole, rewarding him for great service argument, but something just feels weird about that whole thing to me. And I don't know, would he go back to Italy? Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if he does go back to Italy or not. There's also been links to Turkey. We've talked about that a couple of times as well. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see where he does go, because at this moment in time, I really don't know what to expect from Mo and where he ends up. Do you think there'll be protests if he stays? I don't know, Yashin, mate. I don't know. I mean, all I can say that I know for certain would be, as soon as the first perceived negativity comes into the style of play or the results, it's going to be audible quite quickly. And here's what I don't get, right? What's the real upside of this for FSG? So the best possible scenario is that he turns it round and we win some more stuff. That's the best scenario. But how likely is that really, with what we've seen, with the evidence that we've seen over the past 12 months? Because my biggest argument about wanting him out is he didn't improve the team over the course of the year. He didn't all of a sudden start to click. He didn't find solutions. He found excuses. He found bucket loads of them. But I didn't see excuse, or didn't see progression. We didn't peak towards the knockout stages of the Champions League. It wasn't like we were disjointed at one point and we got better. We were up and down, but never felt like we'd fixed it. So then if you add in some more senior departures and a few more untested players in the Premier League, I can't see a realistic argument to think that he's going to make it better. Because who has he made better with his coaching? He's made Florian Wirtz worse. Isak, too early to say for anybody. So I don't know who he's actually improved. So there's not 1% of me that thinks FSG actually believes that it's going to work out. I just think they're willing to give him a bit more rope. Raekwon, how are we? One of my favourite account names, by the way, my man. Hey Craig, hope all is well. I find it interesting that Anthony Gordon has been named again as a target for Liverpool. I believe the club may attempt to get Yan Diamonde, Barcola and Gordon. What do you think about that? So there hasn't been a lot about Gordon, but there have been some linkings. Let me take you through a couple of Fabrizio Romano's posts. So he said, Paris Saint-Germain and Liverpool are both in talks with Yan Diamonde's camp over a move this summer. Decision up to Diamonde, but Leipzig also offering him a new deal, plus a release clause. Liverpool have Bradley Barcola on a shortlist. On top of that, Alex Crook said Liverpool could target Barcola if they miss out on Diamonde. Diamonde is one of a number of names prominent in Liverpool's list of summer targets, but with PSG also showing interest and Leipzig pushing for the Ivorian to stay for one more year, the Reds are casting their net wide. Barcola has been long-term target, and there is a sense PSG could be willing to do business, especially if they land a talented Diamonde. Then there was, where was the other one? There was one that linked that Gordon's name came into the conversation in. Let me just try and find it. There was somebody who said that Gordon's name is there, but not as prominently thought of, or that the likelihood of us moving for Gordon is less. So I don't know if we're still interested in Anthony Gordon or not, would be my answer to it. But I do think you're going to see Liverpool try to strike early in the summer transfer market before the World Cup to get a couple in the door. And thank you so much again, Raekwon, man. That's so kind of you, bro. Really appreciate it. Jaden said, go all out for Diamonde and a backup forward plus DM. So right back. What are we thinking at right back, folks? Let me just ask you this one. Hang on. Let me just ask this as a question. How do I spell his name? Fuck, I gotta get it wrong. Sorry, bear with me. I'm gonna learn how to spell properly soon, I swear. Did I get that right? Yeah. Right, so would you be happy with Dumfries at Liverpool? So he's one of the only names I've seen really mentioned for the right back spot. And we do need a right back, because it's clear that Slot doesn't want to play Frimpong there. We all are fed up of seeing midfielders played at right back. So Liverpool have to do something with the right back position. And I would say the need is only increasing now if Joe Gomez is going to move on. Because Joe's another option at right back, and of course he can play at centre back. So I guess the question I've had is, would you be happy with Dumfries coming in? I'm on the fence about it. I can see the positives for it. I can see the negatives for it. I think it's a credible name, but I don't know if it's the best fit. And the fact that he's Dutch annoys me. Not because I've had against Dutch people. It's just I don't want us to have too many of any nationality in the team. Maybe outside of English, because of course it's an English team, like an English league. But it just I don't want us to become the Dutch national team 2.0. Like, I just don't think that's clever. We need a defensive right back, said JD. That's fair. That is absolutely fair. They've got plenty of attacking options from the right side. But yeah, that's a good shout. Now, the only other one I've really remember seeing was it the Galatasaray right back, the Hungarian gentleman. I think that was another one that we were linked with, going back a while. Angie, how are we, my friend? Always a pleasure to see you. Hey, Craig, he's a dead man walking. It's crazy. Yep, it is crazy, Angie. It's like, lessons have not been learned. Ooh, I've a bit of an announcement for you. So the plan is to start streaming on the 3rd of June from the new studio. So that's the aim. That we're going to launch Anfield Agenda Extra next week, and we're going to start aiming to broadcast from the studio from next Wednesday. That's the goal. Unless there's a technical hiccup, that's what we'll be doing. So yeah, 6 days or 7 days left in here, and then bang, all going well, we should be in the new studio. Yes, Anfield Agenda Extra. So Extra is basically us changing our clips channel. So we're not charging anything. It's not going to be at a paywall or anything. Don't worry. We're adding in Lewis, and Bence is going to be doing a bit with us, and a few more content creators. And they're going to be putting out stuff on the Anfield Agenda Extra channel. What is now Anfield Agenda Clips is becoming Anfield Agenda Extra. And we're going to be giving you different types of content that I just don't have the time to make or the ability to make. So we're going to be talking about, breakdowns on players, top 10s, things like that. Just different styles of content that will hopefully scratch everybody's itch. I know what I'm good at, but I also know what I'm not good at. And I know when I need to step aside and let somebody else do what they're better at. So that's the plan. You'll see a little bit more of Connor. You'll see a lot more of Lewis. He's going to be one of the main faces on there. You'll see Bence coming on for a few bits as well as keeping up his work with Anfield Watch. So if you would like to subscribe to it, that's not it. It's this one. If you'd like to subscribe to it, you can do so now. It's the Anfield Agenda Clips channel. Just scan that QR code or search Anfield Agenda Clips, and then it will automatically revert to the new one when we change it over next week. But yes, when we say extra, that's all we mean. Just different bits of content on there. And I'm also going to put content on there, but not Liverpool centric. I'm going to be giving you a Liverpool fan's view on non-Liverpool things on there. Adrian said, never thought I'd say this out or aloud, but you're a father figure in my life. Your principles, values, the way you hold yourself accountable. Top guy. Oh man, thank you. That means more to me than you'll ever know, because that is what I try to be, is a principled person who walks the walk, and is a person of their word. So thank you. It really means a lot. It really, really means a lot, Adrian. Thank you. That's appreciate you. Gertrude, yes, Kev or Kelv, good show. Forgot about Gertrude, mate. Good show. There's definitely been some links in recent weeks to revisiting Lushrel Gertrude. Yep, sorry, mate. Completely forgot about that one. There's definitely been a little bit written about in the media on that one. Yeah, good show. Where are we at? And again, Adrian, man, honestly, thank you. Tiger Valley said, for me, Liverpool is about fun, and until recently, the best style of elite football on earth. Don't have a connection to the city, sadly. Feel ashamed of that at times. You've nothing to feel ashamed about, mate, on that. For me, I feel as an Irishman, there's a natural kinship towards Liverpool for me. Bit of a brief history lesson, but when Ireland suffered really difficult times and there was no work here, there was a boat that left Dublin and it landed in Liverpool, and that was the first port of call for many Irish people when they had to emigrate from Ireland because of a lack of economic opportunity or whatever. They went over and set up in Liverpool, started their families there, worked there, and it's no accident that you see Carragher's, Rooney's, all these Irish sounding names over there. So for me, I fell in love with Liverpool accidentally as a football club, watching the Arsenal match we lost 2-0 when Arsenal won the First Division title at Anfield. That was the night that I fell in love with Liverpool. But as I got a little bit older and I researched the connection, even something as simple as Anfield, the name coming from a place in Wexford, it just strengthened that bond. And I'm fortunate that for me to go to Liverpool just to visit the city, it's an easy hop across. It's a 35 minute flight, and I'm over there. So I've spent 35 years on and off, gone back and forth to Liverpool and seen the city develop and seen the city fight for its future at times. And I just fucking love the people. There's they just don't know, they just won't give up. And I love that about them. And I love that they fight against what they believe are established issues to keep them down. It's just so much that I admire about Scousers and that city, that it just strengthened the bond for me naturally as I got a bit older. And of course, the football club starting to do well never hurts as well. But even just attending Anfield from before FSG bought the club to after they bought the club, and just every time you go back, there's a bit more development, and it's beautiful to see. And the city deserves everything, every bit of success, because more honest. I know this is what gets me. I don't get all these Scouser jokes about Robin Hood caps and all this shit. That's not the fucking Scousers that I see. Scousers that I see give you the shirt off their back. The ones that I know are the ones that you've seen before help opposition fans when they've missed their buses or trains home, or that's the Liverpool that I've gotten to know over the years. So I'm always gonna, whether individual people from the city like me or don't like me, I'm always gonna stand up for the city because it has the principles that I admire. Alexander, how are you, sir? Are we appointing an assistant or not? Do you know? So some people believe Etienne Reynolds is a done deal. Some people don't think it's a done deal. But correct me if I'm wrong on this, we don't yet know fully what's happening with Giovanni van Bronckhorst. To the best of my understanding, I don't remember seeing the announcement that he's gone. So Truth is, mate, I don't know. I don't want to walk somebody else into trouble here, so I think I mentioned this last night, but people who've spoken to people in Etienne Regnan's circle have said that they've spoken with multiple clubs. And yes, Liverpool are linked and are interested. But I think they've also spoken to Premier League clubs that aren't Liverpool and other clubs outside the Premier League about video analysis and opposition scouting work. But a lot of people believe that he's going to come into the Liverpool setup. I'm not as convinced as some others, but I also can't rule it out. So for me, I'm unsure. I think I know why you're asking, and it's kind of probably the same reason we're all curious about it. If he comes in, that's probably another sign, isn't it? That, you know, they're going to give Arne Slot another go. But I would look at it another way as well. It's like, let's say Van Bronckhorst does go and we get a new assistant coach in. That's 3 different coaches as number 2 in 3 years. Again, not exactly stability, is it? So, yeah, I have concerns about that as well. Bobby Rowler, how are you, dude? Nice to see you again, my friend. So good to see you, Craig. I've got a weird feeling about this window. Can't help but think they'll let us down and still piss around buying players. I really am unsure what my expectations are for the transfer window. I'm not really sure, you know, how much blockbuster names we're going to bring in or how much money to expect us to spend. Yeah, I'm probably most in the dark on this transfer window than any other year. And I don't know if that's because I've been distracted around the slot stuff and I've been focused on just trying to get to the bottom of this. But I haven't really had enough time to delve into transfers as much as I'd like to yet. Because I just want clarity one way or the other on Slot. Like, absolute clarity. Whether he's 100% staying, there's no doubt about it. We're going again. Then we can talk transfers. But, yeah, if we end the transfer window with 2 wide players that are pacey, a DM and a right back, and don't lose anybody drastic, I'm all right with that. Now, I'm also okay for maybe, you know, a 1 out, 1 in situation. So if Jones went, bring in another midfielder in that position. If Maka went, bring in another midfielder in that position. But I don't know what to expect. But I do know this. We need more incomings than outgoings this summer. Because we made the mistake last summer of bringing in some great players. But we let more go. And we didn't give ourselves the depth that we would hope to have. And if we learned anything from this season with Arsenal, it's having that depth over the course of a busy season is pivotal. So the idea of another manageable or small squad, I think, has to go out the window. Because we can't go through that shit again. You know, winning shit keeps players happy. Even if they are playing, I don't want to say bit part roles, but 1 out of every 2 games. You know, you can see with Arsenal that you can keep a squad happy if they're challenging. Eddie said we also have to be mindful of the homegrown quota. Absolutely, absolutely, Eddie. So obviously, if we were to look at Bowen, that would help in that regard. I know Freddie Woodman counts as homegrown player as well. Jones going would mean there'd be another, if you wanted to fill out the full squad, there'd be another one you have to bring in, which I guess maybe could be bringing Kwanzaa back in a year. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely something we'd have to keep an eye on. Who has the longest future at Liverpool, Bradley or Frimpong? It's a good question. If Bradley can avoid repetitive injuries, Bradley, because I think he's more what we need. I still don't know exactly why we signed Frimpong. And again, I'm not saying that to take a dig at him. I don't mean that at all. It just doesn't feel like a natural stylistic fit. Because where the hell does he play? The manager doesn't want to utilise him as a right back. I don't think he's a good enough right winger. And the natural position that we've seen him play in is one that we don't play. So I really never mean to be knocking Jeremy Frimpong, but I don't understand the signing. And I highlighted that last summer. I don't get it. It just feels like that horrible word again, opportunistic, or, you know, somebody that can fill 2 or 3 gaps. But we need specialists. That's what we need right now. A specialist DM, specialist wingers, a specialist right back, not a player who can play in 4 positions. David said, I'd be shocked if Bradley can start 10 games without an injury at this point. It's a weird one, isn't it? Because Frimpong seemingly can't do that at the minute either. And I've no idea. I've no idea. I hate when this happens to players like Connor Bradley. I remember Rob Jones all the way back when as well. It's so mentally tough, and I'm sure for both fans and the player, to see a player that you've got extreme time for as an athlete and a player, and that you know can get to the level needed, but their body keeps breaking down. It's heartbreaking, because Connor Bradley is super, in my opinion. I love Connor Bradley as a footballer. I love everything about his attitude, the energy levels, and I think he's not the finished article, but nor should he be at his age. There's a lot there to work with. But robustness is a big thing for the Premier League. And if your club is playing twice a week all season, you need robust players. It's no good having a player who can play a third of a season, because that doesn't give you continuity. So yeah, it's a really tough one. It really, really is. I'm really glad I don't have to make some of these decisions, because what do? You know, you don't want to get rid of somebody. Like, imagine the kick in the nuts it would feel if you sold Connor Bradley and then he went to Fulham, and he played every week for Fulham for 2 seasons without an injury. You know, you'd be kicking yourself, wouldn't you? But at the same time, if you go into another season with that hope and he starts getting injuries, then you've got a problem. So it's a tough one. Biggie Mall said Rob Jones would have been a worldie. Absolutely. He was incredible. Really, really good player. How many more of these 2 initial 5-letter accounts or 5-number accounts can you just come up with? It's like, you're not even trying anymore, lads. Like, the standard of trolling's fucking shocking. You know, just a bit of creativity, bro. Come on. You know, give me something with your account. Like JW and a load of numbers. It's lazy, man. It's lazy. I expect better. I'm used to a higher standard of trolling than that, dude. Come on, up your fucking game. You know, show some respect to the game. And if I'm the man, baby, what does that make the people sitting in the comments, watching every video, professing to hate me? That's like that's a whole new level of weird. Like, I can't rule out there's some sexual thing going on here. I can't. Because the only people I know that do things that causes them pain are sadomasochists. So if this is giving you some type of sexual release, I don't want to be in that, dude. I'm not down for that. So, you know, I'll make it easier. If you don't like something, fuck off. That's the way I do it. You know, I don't like watching something. I don't ring up RTE or BBC and go, get this off my television. It's just weird, dude. You know, you say that I hate you, but yet you're there every time. Every time I wipe my arse, there you are. Every time I turn on a camera, there you fuckers are. It's weird, but it's also class, because like, the ego side of me loves knowing that there are freaks out there that just want the attention from me. It's weird, like, but it's kind of cute in another way. You know, that there's such sad people that don't have anything good to do with their lives. You know, porn exists, right? Like, really? Stop wasting your time with me and go knock one out to fucking a thick redhead with a fat arse or something, mate. You just crack on. Like, there's better ways to spend your days than wasting your time on me. Honestly. Oh, this week. I'll send you I'm Craig Curious I'm Craig Curious t-shirt. How about that? Or Craig Houlden berated me and made it all better. How about that? Does that work? Maybe that's a new line of merch I'm missing out on. Maybe the OnlyFans is the way to go after all. Man baby talks football. This one. I sent you a screenshot of a disagreement I had with Pierce via Insta messages over his biased journalism and disrespect to the fans. Sick of these journalists not calling out mediocrity. Slot out. Sorry, I've seen that. Yes, sorry, Matt. Connor did send them on to me. What I found intriguing about your conversation was the faux outrage from Pierce about feeling like that post could be interpreted as being one that wasn't condescending. You know, that those with short memories one. I found that fascinating to watch, mate, to see him be surprised that somebody calls him out for that post. So fair play. But yes, I did see it. If you had the choice, which one would you have? Diamonde and Barcola? Just wondering. Oh, God, Leon, you put me under the pressure now. Right. Oh, fuck. I'm going to say Diamonde because my optimistic self loves the idea of thinking a year or two down the line and our starting attack is Rio left, Diamonde right with Isak or Hugo through the middle. That would be incredible. So yeah, but I would caveat that by saying if we went for somebody as young as Diamonde, I think somebody like a Jared Bowen would be needed to kind of almost balance out the risk with somebody who's Premier League proven, because we are, at the end of the day, bringing in a 19-year-old kid who has no experience in the Premier League. If he comes in, I'd like to see that balanced out with a bit more experience as well. But I think Diamonde. David said, Craig, ignore them fools. Met you in the Sugar Club. Nicer man I never met. And your wife, just block him. Block my wife? No, thank you. It was a pleasure to meet you, by the way, David. That's my favourite part of any of them shows, mate, is saying hello to everybody afterwards, you know, having a chat with them. And thank you for coming along as well. That was the first ever show we did. And it was brilliant. I loved meeting everybody there. So thank you for coming along as well, David. Much love. Did you see the interaction between Slot and Hughes at the end of the presentations on Sunday? I read into it. Slot's gone. I don't recall, Mark, the interaction, but the body language was weird all around. You know, Richie Robot was cold looking. Slot was sitting in the dugout. No speeches at the end. It all just felt a bit like, you contrast that with what City did for Guardiola at the what's that venue called? The new arena in Manchester. The Co-op in Manchester. So they had their parade and then they had a 20,000 seat gig in the Co-op in Manchester with like the women's team, former players that played under Guardiola, like Vincent Kompany was there, Fernandinho was there, and musical acts and all that stuff. Like, that's a fucking send-off. That's how you give a legend a send-off. And what do? Handed them here's the wall of honours in a frame, mate, and toodle pips off you pop. Like, it didn't even feel fully dignified enough for me. You know, for Mo and Robbo not to get a chance to address the crowd. I feel annoyed that we didn't do enough for those lads, in all honesty. Like, I can understand Slot not getting on the microphone because maybe he didn't want to run the risk of some negative. And I don't think there would have been on that moment with, the day that was in it. But it all just, the body language that day and the fact that no senior FSG people were there, it just felt a bit weird to me. And underwhelming is probably the phrase as well. Colin said, "Hey Craig, my fiance was nice enough to let me finish our honeymoon in the UK. Praying we play at Anfield October 24th or 25th. It would be a dream come true." Well, hopefully you can get to go, Colin. Yeah, look, when it gets a bit closer and you know the lay of the land, reach out to me and I'll see if I can call in a favour or two to grab you a ticket. I don't have many ticket sources, but I can certainly call in a few favours. Because I'd like to try and make your honeymoon that little bit better as well if you can take in a game. But yeah, keep in touch. Do let me know, mate, because if I can try to help that one out for you, I'd love to be able to do it for you. Sign Frimpong to make the Wirtz deal easier, plus squad player. I can understand that, Sonder. I can understand that thought process, but where do we play him? Because, this season, I don't really remember thinking, yeah, he had one outstanding game or anything. I don't know, man. It felt unnecessary versus what we needed as well last summer. But if that was the thinking, maybe there's some sense to it. Kuhl is another we never saw the best of. Oh, I was fully sure when we signed Harry Kuhl, that was it. Get that Premier League trophy ready. The Reds are back. I wanted him or I wanted Damien Duff. And when we signed Harry Kuhl, I think I've told you this story before. I was in A&E in St. Vincent's Hospital with my missus, and it was on the TV. He just announced that when he was leaving Leeds, where he was going. And I'll never forget it. I was so convinced that was it. That was the signing. Here we go. Big things on the horizon. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. We never really got the Harry Kuhl that we'd seen at Leeds. Great to see you back, mate. Keep up the good work. All I need now is Slot to get the boot for the best birthday ever. Well, I'm not sure when exactly your birthday is, but happy birthday to you, Bill. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Or if it was today, I hope you've had a wonderful day. Mark said, "It was disgusting the way those players were treated by not letting them say a few words to the crowd." It felt weird, Mark, didn't it? It felt weird. I would have loved to see Mo grab the mic there and belt out an old rendition with Anfield of Mo Salah running down the wing or something. Or, Robbo singing Mo's song, Mo singing Robbo's song, something. It did feel, and I think somebody in the chat said by design, and that could be true. It absolutely could have been by design. But none of it screams health of the football club, does it? Something feels wrong at our football club at the minute. Or else I'm just my radar is completely off. But something to me just doesn't feel healthy about life at Liverpool Football Club at the minute. There's loads of conjecture of fallouts and blah-de-blah. Can we get some bleeding consistency and just get back to the good vibes? Did you ever think the club set you up to shut you down because you're getting too much traction? Don't underestimate your reach and response from Liverpool. No, look, I think you're talking about the information on the manager. No, I don't. I don't go about my life thinking like that, Joey. If I say something, I've made that decision, and I've looked at the information given to me, thought about it, and decided to say X or Y. And I always take responsibility for that. So, even if they did, I bit. I took the bait. It's on me. End of the day. But No, I've never. Like, I know I said to the guy earlier on that I know the club have reached out to people that we're supposed to meet up with and stuff, but I would like to think that they don't have the time to be worrying about little old me or any fan content, that they've got better things to be getting on with. Because right now, we all want Liverpool to get back to winning ways. So, I have to admit that I have underestimated the reach of our channel. I definitely feel like my words carry a bit more weight than I perhaps thought. And I don't mean I can make things happen. I mean, everything I say is analysed a bit more than I ever think about. I just think I'm a gobshite on here, having a bit of chat and laughing and giving you my take. I never Google my own name and look at what people are saying about me, or search video clips or how people. But definitely, I definitely do think maybe, and I can't speak for Connor on this, but I definitely do think, yes, I underestimate our channel, because I'll always think of us as little upstart 30,000 subscriber channel. It doesn't dawn on me that we're up to 382,000, like, because it doesn't. To me, it's just a pleasure to do this, man, one way or the other. Yeah. So yeah, that's the honest answer. Konate's contract expires in 35 days, down to the wire. Yep. Now, there's been a few things, today. The Jeremy Jacquet comments, it could have been something, it could have been nothing, Portadown Blue, but he said, where's the one that has Konate's name in it? Where's the one with Konate's name in it? Yeah, so he said, Van Dijk is going to teach me so much. There's also KONATE who can help me settle in. Training with guys like that, it doesn't get any better. And then Get French Football News posted and said, has Jeremy Jacquet dropped a hint on the French international's Liverpool contract renewal? So I don't know if that was overanalyzing what Jacquet said, or if he has maybe spilled the beans a little bit on it, because it is weird that nobody seems to know where we're at with this. I mean, was it this? Simon Jones said, a new contract for Ibrahim Konate was close to being agreed in April, but has been held up over final details. He wants to stay, but foreign clubs are once again alert to the fact that he could be available on a free. And then he said, elsewhere, Aston Villa are among the clubs showing interest in Joe Gomez. So, look, if I'm guessing, and I absolutely am, I would guess he stays at this point. And I'd be concerned if he doesn't, because then we're having to go shopping again for a starting centre-back. Did the same source tell you that they backed up? I don't know what you mean by backed up. I don't know what you... Sorry, unless I'm reading this wrong. Did the same source tell you that they backed up? So are you asking me, did the same source tell me that he's now getting kept? No, if that's the question. The source hasn't changed any information. Yeah, the stance there is still the same. Like, the reason, excuse me, the reason I made the video and put my hands up was I was finding it really difficult to continue to just keep doubling down on it when I was being met with so many reports over and over again from actual journalists who were saying he's staying. He's staying, he's staying, he's staying. And for me to keep telling you, I know he's going, even with all this, I just felt like I'm doubting it a little bit because nothing's happening. And if I'm doubting it, I have to at least, reflect that in how I report it to you. So that's why I made the video. And look, I understand it seems dramatic for me to say I offer my resignation. But maybe that's an autistic thing. I don't know. Maybe, I do feel it more weight of falling on my sword or whatever. But I think Connor said it best when he made his video and did the watch along stream. Sorry. I take this role very seriously. Probably more seriously than I should. But when I get something like that wrong, it doesn't matter what trolling I get. because it's not going to get near the levels of abuse I give myself. That much I can tell you for a fact. Nobody in this world is harder on me than me, because I'm my biggest critic, and I'm the biggest problem to me. So I felt like it would be unfair to continue to give hope to people when I'm starting to have my own doubt. But I can't sit here and tell you I'm categorically wrong either, because I still don't know that. But I'm happy to just say I'm wrong, and if something happens, great. But that's full disclosure. That's all of it. That's the honest situation. Oh, sorry. I clicked on the wrong button. Why do we delete Biggie Mall's comments of "Did you have a little wobble"? I don't know. Why would we delete that? Did I have a little wobble? Of course, yeah. Of course. Self-doubt creeps in all the time, mate. And if I don't think I'm the best person for this role, I've always said I'll step away. But I have to say, wow, to the amount of support. Just wow. Fuck me. Like, yeah, I'm forever humbled by that. Yeah. Like, I keep underestimating how great our community actually is, even though it's the thing I'm most proud of. You guys are fucking awesome, and you're so patient with me. So, what's happening with United and Roy Keane, and with Jamie Carragher as well this season, club? Do you think club legends and pundits are criticising current players for the smallest of things? It's really funny you bring this one up, Mohammed, because Connor and I were talking about this earlier on, and I wasn't fully up to speed with the whole Bruno Fernandes, Roy Keane thing. But it's a weird one. Like, I think it's more of a Manchester United thing than so much Liverpool. I know Carragher had his bit to say on Salah, but I think it's a double-edged sword, because you do have players like Keane, Scholes, Neville, who were standard bearers at Manchester United and brought that club back to success. So obviously they're going to feel strongly about people if they feel like they're not doing enough. But it's not for me to say when they cross the line or not. I think each individual person will have their own take on it. I don't know what's gone on between Carragher and Salah. I don't know why Carragher felt the need to make that stance. I mean, only he knows that, I guess. I get more annoyed, though, in a different way. Like, I get more annoyed when ex-players are towing the company line. Like, that bugs me more than seeing an ex-player being critical of a current player. Unless it's like an ex-player who's shy criticising a current player who's brilliant, then I'm just like, stay in your fucking lane. Like, this isn't for you. But I don't know. I'm more annoyed when they just keep like saying, "Oh, Arne Slot has to be backed." Going, no, he doesn't. That can fuck right off. But I don't know. I'd love to challenge any of them to tell us where they realistically think he should have another go, without saying the phrase "because he won the league in year one," because that's no longer a valid reason to keep anybody in a job. He won the league in year one, great. So that's now the standard. That's now the aim. That's the goal. You've set that. That's the standard. To go down to 5th place and talk about that as any type of accomplishment is garbage. Carragher had a say on Slot today too. Again, Mark, I haven't seen that yet, so feel free to fill me in on it, because I don't know what he said about Slot today. Tamim said, Craig, do you think there's a chance we get Diamonde and Barcola? I hope we can get both. So I haven't dared myself to dream that much, but Asim, who I'm sure you guys know who he is, shout out to Asim. Asim posted and said, sign Diamonde early, wait for PSG to get a couple of Barcola replacements, then swoop in for him too. Add another attacker in the market later. Is this what Liverpool are shaping up to do? I don't know is the honest answer. I haven't got a clue, but yeah. I don't know. I'd love that to happen, but we'll have to wait and see. I missed the super chat. Did I? Which one did I miss? One sec. Done that one. Done that one. Done that one. Oh, this one. I'm confident your info is right. I heard from another YouTuber Wednesday is the day it's confirmed and the new manager in by 1st of June. I think I read that one out earlier on. Look, I hope that's the case, Mark. I hope, and I don't know which YouTuber it was you're speaking about, but I hope if I hope they're right. Genuinely, I hope they are. And like I said, I can't sit here and tell you for a fact I'm 100% certain I'm wrong. I just think I just thought with me having some doubt about it, I had to convey that. But I haven't been given something to absolutely disprove everything else. So yeah, I hope you're right, Mark, and I hope that YouTuber, whoever it is right as well. Salah won the league slots first year. He did, absolutely. I think most of us would agree without Mohamed Salah having the season that he had, there's not a hope we'd have won that league title in year one. Absolutely agree with you. Where is that? Is it still down here? Oh, it is. Is it gone? Did the poll disappear, lads? I can't see the poll anymore. Has it disappeared? I can't see it. We had a poll on Dumfries and I've no idea what's happened to it. I can't see it on my end anyway. Craig, imagine when Slot is sacked, double celebration. So I promise you, I've no interest in celebrating when a Liverpool manager gets sacked. Look, I'll feel relief, but it's nothing to celebrate because it's a failure at our club, and we shouldn't be celebrating failures at our club. But I understand, like relief, I'll absolutely feel relief if he's fired. But ultimately, it's a sad thing that our football club isn't where we want it to be, and you know, sacking a manager is of course the last resort. But I think if everything points to that, you've got to do it. I can't see the poll. Sorry, lads, I can't see it. Keane, can you see the poll? Can you end the poll? I can't see it. I don't know if Keane, if you're able to end the poll, mate, as the chief moderator. I can't see it. So, Alan said yes is 47%, no 53%. Yeah, I think that's about right. I think for people to be split on it is probably about right because it's a decent signing for me, but it's not the best signing ever, the idea of it. Here's one for you. I'd feel better about the Denzel Dumfries possibility if Slot wasn't the coach and somebody else came in with a fresh pair of eyes and thought he was the right fit. When I see a Dutch coach being linked with more Dutch players, my mind immediately just goes back to Ten Hag and just thinks that's what he did. And I don't want that to be the reason why we buy somebody. It has to be because they're the right guy. And if it was if we had a different coach, I'd probably feel a lot more likely to be not supportive of it, but understanding of it. Craig, here's a stat you don't know. In 9 years of Salah, his contributions of scoring and assisting was 35% of all players. It's crazy, Jason. It is fucking crazy, man. I never for 1 second thought we were going to get what we got with Mo. I thought we were getting a good wide player who would do a bit, but never in my wildest dreams did I expect Mohamed Salah to be the player he's turned out to be for us. It has been an absolute pleasure to watch that man. Right, let me try this. And then we'll end that. Nope. I can't see the poll. It's just still not coming up for me. Anyway, we got the poll. It was 53-47, so we'll leave it at that on the poll. Right, couple of super chats to get through, and then I'm going to go record the news update video. What are we talking about tonight? We're talking about Trey Neone, Alison Becker, a bit more on Diamonde. So yeah, we've a few bits for the late night news update video, which I'm going to jump into in a second. If Mbappe makes his way to the Prem, fireworks. Look, I just don't think that's going to happen, because who's going to buy him? You know, who has the money to go and buy Mbappe? I still can't believe it looks like he could go through his career and not win a Ballon d'Or. Like, that is absolute insanity to me. Because I would have thought at 27 he'd have had a couple already at this point in his career. Would wingers and midfielder be top targets this summer? Yes. And the DM. For me, the two most important positions is a DM and wide player. They're the top two, and probably multiple wide players, but they're the number 1 and 2 that we cannot end this window without having resolved. Joey said, forgot to say, missed you, mate. Welcome back. Thank you, Joey. It's always a pleasure to see you in, my man, and you're always so kind. Appreciate you. Right, we're just shy of 1,000 likes, so if I can ask a huge favour on that one, please do hit that like button for me. And if you haven't subscribed, love you to do that as well. If Dumfries came in as a backup, that's fine. Not as a starter, though. Glad you're back, mate. Missed you over those days. Thank you, Muldor. I think that's where my head's at as well. Like, I want Conor Bradley starting if they're both fit. I'd prefer Conor Bradley on the right than Dumfries, but he'd be a very credible signing in that regard. AJ said, Craig, I was 100% convinced he was gone. Chris Williams put a massive dent in it. If they look at the data, FSG will sack, but Hughes and Edwards are the problem. I have to admit, AJ, Chris Williams' post was a big catalyst for me making that video. If you look at the timing of when Chris Williams made that post and when I put out that video, my recollection of that night, Keane might help me on this because Keane shared the post with me, but my recollection of that night was I finished the stream. I then had a couple of messages from Keane on WhatsApp. I looked at them. It was Chris Williams' post, and both of our hearts sank when we looked at his post, because if the guy who's been as outspoken as any journalist had been came to the conclusion that it looks like he's staying, let's just get behind the team, it felt like, fuck. Like, that was a huge catalyst for me saying, lads, I think I'm wrong here. It was, and Keane will back me up on that. Like, that was, both of us were exchanging messages going, oh no. Like, anybody else, and I probably wouldn't have flinched. But with Chris Williams saying it, with him having been as outspoken as he was on things that we all were unhappy about, yeah, it definitely felt like a shift, AJ, in momentum. Keane said there was a few posts we were brushing away when we seen that we just thought, oh, feck. Yeah, definitely, Keane. That was one that we both went, uh-oh. This, and even Connor, when he seen it, went, oh, yeah. If he's saying that either he was reached out to by the club, given information to change his viewpoint, or I don't know. But yeah, that was a huge thing for me. Do you think we'll get Adam Wharton? So I think the best way I can answer that, Trev, is to say what David Lynch said. And I think David's right. That the deal looks like it's there if Liverpool want to do it. Now, I don't know if Liverpool do go and sign Wharton. But I agree with David Lynch's take on it that the deal's there if Liverpool want to do it. So, yeah, I'm going to say goodnight, ladies and gents, and go record this video. I think we're live tomorrow. I'm pretty sure we are, but do again, just check in. You'll see the stream. We usually schedule it about 7:30, 8:15. I know Connor will be here in the morning with a news video. I'll be here early evening as well. and most likely we'll have a late night agenda tomorrow night. Again, thank you for coming in, folks. It's been a pleasure chatting with you all. Had really, really good fun this evening. AJ said, what about a scenario for you, Craig? Edwards leaves in the summer, Hughes after the window, Slot stays and Heidegger comes back. Would you accept this? There is, quite honestly, AJ, no situation with Slot staying that I would support. I'd support the team and I'd be happy to shut up talking about the manager, but there's no winning me back on the Arne Slot thing. It's gone to a different level for me now, mate. Like, I don't like him. I don't like him for a whole host of reasons. So, no, it wouldn't change my opinion, AJ. But appreciate you, my man, and thank you for the super chats, man, and thank you for your input as well. Yeah, appreciate you. Right, folks, I'll